Hi, Alessandra. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Meg. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited for this conversation.
Me too. Well, I love skincare, so and I'm always trying to find the best what we can do. We're all aging as with grace, right? But anything we can do to help that and help our skin is wonderful. So before we dive into, we're going to talk all about skin health, about peptides, about a lot of great new things that are coming. But could you just tell us a little bit about your background and what sparked your mission?
Yeah, sure. So my background is 100% in science. This is what I have been doing since I went to college. I studied biology, then I did a master and a PhD on stem cells, tissue engineering, which means like growing organs in the lab. And my PhD most specifically was when I started studying skin biology. So I was studying how to use stem cells and biomaterials to improve wound healing. So after my PhD, I still did 3 years of postdoc in Portugal before I moved to San Francisco in the beginning of 2017 to join my co-founders on One Skin. That the first mission was like to use our expertise of growing human models in vitro to test if products, what are the efficacy of products when they're called anti-aging products. That was how we started a group of scientists. And when we start to look to skin now, not more on the so much on the regeneration part of wound healing, but to the aging process of skin and why the products that we were testing was not really reversing the markers of skin aging was when we got interested on going deep on the skin aging process and developing novel molecules that would really target the aging process on the skin. And what starts to fascinate me that was never a skincare junk person was that skin aging has a big correlation with your overall health and the way you will be looking and feeling and living in 50, 60 years from now, 30, 50, whatever, like it's the time frame of your life. But um, the skin plays an important role on that, not only on our aesthetics of looking good and feeling good about ourselves, but being an important organ that is protecting our bodies. So what fascinated me is like that the skin is way more than the beauty, it's an important organ. And if we can address the root cause of aging, we can improve the skin health, the skin function, the skin appearance, and help us in this process of longevity. That's an area that I was always very fascinated about.
Wow, yes, I'm excited to dive into all of that. Can we start with just talking a little bit about the changes in our skin and what happens as we age?
Yeah, so what happens to our skin and actually to all our body when we are aging is that we are accumulating damage. And this damage that we accumulate in our body also reflects on some of our cells stop dividing and secreting inflammation. So as we are getting older, we are accumulating more of these damaged cells that secrete inflammation. And if they are not removed from our system, this inflammation leads to other healthy cells to induce them to age faster. So, in the skin, the accumulation of damaged cells leads to more collagen breakdown. It leads to the sagging. It leads to a skin barrier that's not as resilient, so it's more fragile, more thin. So, a lot of that is connected to this accumulation of damage inside the tissue.
Okay, so you're saying that the skin and how your skin is aging is reflective of what's actually going on in your cells and in your body.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's like at the cellular level, there are changes that are happening that's accumulating damage, that's releasing more inflammation on that tissue. And it's a key driver of the signs of aging that we see when the skin starts to become more fragile, more thin, more sagging, and more like not even skin as well.
And what age do you start to see major changes in skin occur?
So when we look to the biomarkers, we do see a shift around 30 years old. So there is like a change at the molecular level that start happening and be more pronounced after 30 years. Some people will already be seeing the visible signs, other a little bit later. We do know that through the menopause phase, there is a lot of like changes in hormones that are also important to keep the skin healthy. So it accelerates in women the aging process throughout those ages of 45, 55 years old. But molecularly speaking, starting on 30 years already starts to have a difference on the process of aging.
And you had mentioned, I want to just touch on this a little bit because I want to get a little bit more into aging, but you also mentioned that your skin is a major factor important for your overall health. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one thing that we don't realize as much is that the skin is our largest organ. So, because it's our largest organ, if the aging process is accelerated on the skin, and if you're accumulating more of these damaged cells that are secreting inflammation, this inflammation that's being secreted on your skin will be impacting your overall health. Nowadays, we already know that one of the major causes that we start to develop chronic diseases after the age of 60 years, like, for instance, Alzheimer, Parkinson, a lot of cancers, they are more common to happen when you get older. And this is because your body has higher levels of inflammation at that age, which drives more of those chronic diseases that are rare to be seen when you are young. So if you think that your skin is so large and can be contributing to these levels of inflammation that drive diseases later on in life, the more you keep your skin healthy and protected and with less of damaged cells being accumulated on that skin, you are actually helping your overall body to have lower levels of inflammation and be what we think of reducing, at least not contributing that much to the appearance of diseases later in life.
Yeah, that's an interesting flip because I know we all think, oh, we want to have better skin for beauty and to look younger, but actually to think of your skin and the health of your skin as the largest organ and impacting your overall health. So, yeah, I like that that explanation for us here. So, let's talk a little bit about peptides because I know the product that you have is a peptide. So, I want to just let's start with peptides. There's a lot more about peptides coming out. There's a lot of great information. So if we could kind of start with that and how that's working on the skin.
Yeah, so peptides are a class of molecules that are made of amino acids that are the building blocks of proteins. So it's kind of like a small piece of a protein, and they have the function of signaling to the cells to start repairing damage or to reduce inflammation or to produce more collagen. So they're signal molecules that can interact biologically with your cell and induce that cell to behave differently. So that's why they're so powerful and interesting molecules because they can drive the function of the cells to be behaving in a certain way. So we have several different types of peptides available for skincare. Some of them, they're inducing more collagen production. Some of them are turning on cell renewal pathways. Others, like ours, are our peptide is very specific and was targeted, designed to target the accumulation of the damaged cells. So this peptide is telling the cells to repair better damage and to reduce the inflammation that they are secreting. And with that, we kind of reduce the burden that those damaged cells cause in the skin and reverse the aging of the skin. So it's different classes. There are different types of peptides. One important thing when we are working, when we're talking about any molecule that you're applying on the skin, is that the skin is a barrier, right? So not everything can penetrate our skin. So sometimes even a peptide can be good, but if it's on a formula that it does not allow the penetration of that peptide, you're actually not having the effect of that peptide. It can be contained, but it's not effective. So that's one thing that we're very carefully on investigating before bringing a formula is that that peptide can be delivered to the skin and be active and perform what it's supposed to do.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So you brought it up before I could ask you because I've heard that a lot. You know, that there's a lot of now people advertising like peptides for your skin, but they're not actually being absorbed. So sometimes you can be wasting your money by buying peptides that aren't actually being absorbed
Yeah.
into the tissue, like the skin tissue. So that's important.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like, oh, this product contains peptide. This one, how a person like how they can know if
Yeah.
that peptide it's good or not or it's absorbing. It's very hard. Me as a consumer, I can see like you cannot you're looking to a label. It says that contains peptides and that's it. So I always like to encourage people to when they're buying products to really research that company, that brand, and see what's behind that product, right? Do they have data? Do they have they taken the time to investigate how is the efficacy of that product in clinical studies or more deep in understanding the penetration of the peptide? This I mean, One Skin is so born in this biotech that we do way more experiments that the vast majority of skincare companies does. But the, even if you don't go so deep, like at least at the minimum, like having proof of concept of the efficacy of that product is a way you can distinguish a little bit if that's a good product or not. Like just
Hmm.
by investigating if they're doing clinical studies, if they have data to back what the claims are saying.
Hmm. Do you have any, one of the things that someone like said that could help absorption is to like roll like a micro needling kind of thing over your skin. Do you think that helps with the penetration?
Yes, definitely. So anytime you're doing a micro needling,
Hmm.
you're actually creating small pores on your skin, which is allowing a better penetration of anything that you will apply on your skin after the micro needling. So that's one of the ways that you can improve penetration. Sometimes, like to do that every day can be painful
Hmm.
or,
Yeah.
or discomfort, but it's one way that is associated with how we can improve penetration of on the skin.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I bought a little roller that I
Yeah,
I just haven't opened the box yet. That's what I need to do. It's like they're like $5 to get, so it's
yeah.
not something. I mean, I know going to like the spa, like and having some a service is expensive, but you can do that. I think, right? You could just use a little roller to
Yeah,
help. Hmm.
you can use a little roller at home, and
Hmm.
it will all depend on like the size of that needle and the amount of
Okay.
pressure that you're doing.
Okay.
Because if you don't pressure that much, you're actually not creating any kind of
Oh,
holes in your skin. When you go on a professional, they usually do a more deep
yes.
micro needling, even
Hmm.
like you get your skin bleeds out a little bit because it's really more harsh.
Hmm.
Uh, that type of micro needling is also activating wound healing pathways that it's good to make your skin look good on the next few weeks because
Okay.
when you create small, like deep wounds, you
Hmm.
stimulate your fibroblasts to produce more collagen. Um, and when you're doing those very deep wound microneedling, it's important mainly that you do with a professional and they apply like products that are soothing your skin and will not be aggressive to your skin because the skin will go through this healing process as well.
Yes. If someone was like looking just to get something for at home, when you mentioned it's at the size of the needle, is there any size that you recommend?
Yeah, so starting at 0.25, it's the smallest, one of the smallest. And if you need to apply a little bit with pressure,
Okay.
but can already at least create some small dots on your upper layers that can help
Okay.
some penetration.
Okay, yeah, thank you. There's always like good tip, good tips to go. Now, what about the one thing? So we're looking at anti-aging, so I want to get into like one skin specifically and look at anti-aging, but what about also things like eczema and things where people have issues on the skin? Does that apply apply to when you're saying decreasing inflammation, we also see things like I'm going to use eczema or atopic dermatitis too.
Yeah. So a lot of those dermatitis, they are associated with inflammation happening on your skin and a compromise of the skin barrier. That's also why it gets like more itchy and more red, the area that you have like a patch of eczema. So when you're using a product like ours that is making your skin barrier more resilient, like stronger, and reducing the inflammation of the skin, you are benefiting of avoiding more of these patches, eczema patches formation, and can help like even soothing some of like eczema. Eczema, because it's a disease, we cannot, our product's not a treatment to
Yes.
it, but we do see that they use from some customers that have eczema, they have reported that their skin got better and they are not having much of that patch. But there is more associated to why the skin it has psoriasis or eczema. A lot of times you need to go to a doctor to understand what's causing that. And sometimes it's a problem that not just a topical product will completely solve it.
Yeah, no, that's what we're always looking into. Why
Yeah.
is it, what is showing up on your skin and why is it showing up there? So I agree. A lot of it's been beneath the surface, right?
Yes, because I feel that the past like century or so, we look to our body segmenting a lot to the body, right? Like, oh, how do I make my skin look good? How do I improve my heart health, my liver, everything like in some buckets. How do I
Yes.
treat that disease? So specifically just looking to the disease in that organ. And now we know that everything is connected, right? So
Mhm.
your skin to be at the best, yes, you need to apply products that are improving the health of your skin, but the quality of your sleep, the diet that you're having, the stress level that you're going through at that moment, the amount of exercise, everything is influencing you to have a better skin or not, a better health or not. So it's more the whole longevity concept that for me it's very appealing and I love it a lot. Is like what are the things that I can do to prevent me to get to that stage where I already have a disease and needs to be fixed because it got to a point that it's hard to come back. So
Yes.
you think about everything as one and you improve all of it in order to improve your health and avoid and get avoid the appearance of novel diseases.
Yes, I hear you. That's exactly what we're trying to do. The message we're sharing, because it is, we're all connected and all of these things are connected. And the more we can bring our body back into balance, the better you're going to feel in general. So the other thing is, I wanted to get into because you mentioned how the cells die off, and when I was doing some research on one skin, I read about how you were talking about the zombie cells, and that's such a fun name, right? Our zombie cells. So can we talk a little bit about them and how we remove them?
Yeah. So zombie cells, remember in the beginning, I was saying that we accumulate damage and we have damaged cells in our skin, in our body. Those are what we call zombie cells. So naturally, like our body's supposed to be renewing the cells. So whenever like they have some damage, they die and it's replaced by a novel cell. But with aging, what happens is that some damaged cells, they don't die. And because they are secreting inflammation, that's why we call them zombie cells. They shouldn't be there, but they are still there and they are secreting something that is impacting and inducing healthy cells to become also damaged. So that's the concept of why we call those cells zombie cells. Scientifically, they are known as senescent cells, is a little bit harder term to say, but they're cells that accumulate damage that shouldn't be there and they're still secreting inflammation. So that was the target that we got interested to look at and to try to find a molecule specifically to reduce the accumulation of the zombie cells. Because back in 2017, we were seeing on the scientific community and here in San Francisco, a lot of new biotech companies that were addressing those zombie cells to treat several diseases in our body. Like looking in Alzheimer, there is accumulation of zombie cells in the brain. When you looked at arthritis, there is also accumulation of zombie cells. And we were not seeing anyone looking at the zombie cells on the skin. That was the opportunity that we saw, and we then drove all our research to understand the accumulation of zombie cells on the skin and to find a peptide that would specifically reduce this accumulation. So we were very like target specific on our research, and was an opportunity at the market because there was no product talking about senescence, inflammation on the skin, the way we were already like envisioning and seeing the trend of the science coming and showing all this data that if you reduce senescent cells in any tissue of your body, you are actually promoting health and rejuvenation. And that's when we started to search for a specific peptide that would reduce the inflammation that these zombie cells are secreting in the skin and reduce the accumulation of novel zombie cells. And that our research led to the OS1 peptide, our main proprietary peptide. It's interesting because we were a group of scientists and doing all this research when we identified this novel peptide and was comparing to other actives that are commonly used on skincare and seeing the potential of this peptide. We thought we would license to a company, but then we decided to create our own brand and create products that are powered by this peptide. So we could not only bring a very efficacious product, but we can also open the conversation to longevity, to the importance of skin health. That's why in 2021 we launched our first product, and I'm still a scientist and I still lead the research at the company. But it's so nice to see how this product that we create in our lab is impacting and improving the skin health of so many people. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, as a scientist, a dream that came true.
Yes, yes, all your work and seeing it
Exactly.
actually pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about One Skin products and how they fit into your skin routine?
Yeah. So we have a basic line of products for your to cover your skin that we call the essential products for a good skin health. The peptides, the first product we brought to the market is a face moisturizer. And then we have a body lotion because, again, that idea that you need to treat your skin not only on your face, but on your whole body. And the body lotion, it has been recently even getting a lot of attraction because it really improves the thinning of the skin that we only start to realize more when we get over 60 years, that the skin is getting really crepey. And then sometimes we're just realizing at that time, and we're seeing a lot of people that are going through that process having like a lot of good results on their skin becoming stronger again. So it's one of my favorite products that I use daily to prevent the skin thinning, but also like if your skin is already very thin and crepey, it's a good product to try. We also have an eye cream that we developed specifically because our research was showing that the skin around the eye, we know that wrinkles first, right? But when we look to the cellular level, it also accumulates more of the zombie cells in the skin compared to the temple and the forehead. So we developed a product that has a higher concentration of the peptide. So if you have more concerns around the eye already, it can be a good boost to the face product. And then we have two SPFs that also are powered by the peptide. They are mineral SPFs. And we have a cleanser to start your routine. The cleanser is the only product that does not contain the peptide. And it's a gentle cleanser, helps removing makeup, pollution, the dead cells that are on top of the skin, preparing for a better absorption. Um, I always say, like the cleanser, if you have some that it's already good that you're already used to, it's okay. You don't need to switch to the one skin one. If you are looking for a new cleanser, this one is very gentle. It does not dry your skin, but it does not contain our peptide.
Okay. And it is okay to use on the eyelids. That's what I was hearing you say that.
Yeah, the eye cream
Mhm.
is safe all around the eye, and we have
Okay.
very like interesting data on our clinical study that the eyelid kind of have a lift effect. It really improved the quality of the skin there.
Okay, that's great. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this great information. We're going to share a coupon with everyone. If you go, we'll link the website in the show notes, and then you can put Dr. Meg and receive 15% off. So we'd love to share that. This is a great product. I've been using it and love the results. So that's why I wanted to bring you on and share this information because I think, there's so many things coming out these days, and it's hard to know what's good, what's not, what actually works, what you're saying, like what actually has science, how it's been studied. I mean, because you can go into any, what, and then we're also looking for clean products. You can go into, Sephora and there's this overwhelm of smell and chemicals and different things that you can buy, definitely. But what do we have that's like good for us, that's clean, that has science behind it? So thank you so much for sharing this information with us. And can you tell our listeners like where they can find more about you, about the product, about any information?
Yeah, so you can find our products on our website, oneskin.co. I would also recommend to subscribe to our newsletter. We share a lot of like interest content on skin longevity, skin health, but overall health and longevity as well. We also share a lot of the data that we are generating in our lab, our clinical studies. So it's a very informative newsletter. We are also on Instagram, TikTok, oneskin.co. And our products, you can find direct to consumer. We're not on retail yet, so through our website.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.